I'm Justin Boyd.
Tristan Jones.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. Welcome to Watchers Football, a podcast within a podcast. And a podcast that's all about the pigskin. We are here today. It's the first Tuesday in October. So this is our first chance to do our monthly check-in on the NFL season. And Tristan, let's get right to it. Week 5 wrapped up last night with the Jaguars beating the Chiefs 31-28 with a late touchdown by Trevor Lawrence to conclude the week, to drop the Chiefs to 2-3. What's your assessment of the Kansas City team 5 weeks into the season?
Oddly optimistic. If you recall, last year, Chiefs started out 10-0, but a lot of close call losses. Offense was sputtering. Defense was good, at times really good, not great. There were a rash of injuries, offensive line. Obviously, almost the entire receiving corps was wiped out. Running back. There was more. I felt like there was a little bit more cause for concern last year. When you think about just the overall makeup of the team, just like how well-rounded they are.
Yeah.
Chiefs last year were getting a lot of short yardage plays, in the run game, no explosive whatsoever. I'm seeing the offense tick up to more explosive as they go. Obviously getting Xavier Worthy helps, Tyquan Thornton, kind of making a leap into like a guy that's on the field, 70-80% of the time. Yeah. Instead of a practice squad player, somebody was cut from the Patriots. Getting Rasheed back will help. Travis looks a little bit better than he did last year. The line protection is better this year. Kingsley, Sata, oh my God, I keep messing up. I'm going to mess his name up. But our left guard and our two tackles, our two guys on the left side, young guys, getting better every game. I'm a little bit more concerned about the defense. They weren't good at all week 1 against the Chargers and got better. They played very well against Philly, played very well, obviously, against the Giants and the Ravens, but they regressed last night. Getting off the field on third down, especially in the second half, the Jaguars were 9 of 17 in the second half on third down. Like that, 1, it's hard to protect the lead. 2, it's hard to extend the lead out. And obviously it was hard closing that game out. But as far as things that I'm optimistic about, and I forgot, the pass rush. Pass rush is horrid. It hasn't been consistent in any game, honestly, this season. But besides that, I'm a little bit more optimistic about, obviously, the O-line, as I mentioned. I think the running game, I don't think the running game is going to be great this year at all. So I've kind of thrown that in the trash, but I want to see, incremental improvement. Pacheco's gotten a little bit better every game. Brashard Smith has added a little pop out of the backfield, in the passing game and a little bit in the running game. He's not going to be a every down running back this year. Like that's just not, he played very little running back in college. He's a natural receiver. Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing a little bit more explosive plays. Rasheed comes back, obviously you can open up the playbook a lot more. And maybe that 14-0, they had a chance to take it to 21-7 before the half and then get the ball back after the half. And they just couldn't sustain that drive. Obviously penalties too, that's another thing. But with Rasheed back, that's another playmaker that you put on the field. And you essentially could do whatever you want, with the right spacing. Mm-hmm. So the record is not great. I think the AFC is nobody's great, but there's a lot more parity, a lot more good teams in the AFC. So that's a bummer, trying to get back over 500. But they're only a game out of first place in the AFC West, and we, focus on winning the games you're supposed to win, getting on a little streak, getting back to the top of the division. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. Whenever they went up 14-0 last night, that drive the Mahomes, he capped it off with like an option run play. But that drive, the way the offensive line protected him, I was like, man, if they protect him, no one's going to beat this team because you said it very well. There's a lot of parity this year, and there's not a great team, not only in the AFC, there's not a great team in the NFC, I don't think either.
Period. Yeah.
Very like toss up, much like, I mean, you just toss it up, anybody could win.
I was talking reckless in the group chat after that scramble, after that RPO for the touchdown. Because like you said, like it's been literally 3 years since I've seen Mahomes fully trust the line in front of him to where he can dance around, look around, spread the ball around to different receivers. I think in the first half, he had about 3.3 seconds to drop on every drop back.
Yeah.
And just overall, Mahomes, for all the talk about the offense, the Chiefs have a top 5 offense as far as efficiency, and Mahomes is a top 5 quarterback as far as EPA, expected points, on average per play. Like, the offense is moving. And before it was because Mahomes is so good that he was essentially carrying the offense, passing and running.
Yeah.
Now he's, a little bit less running, and now, he's just finding guys all over the field. And if they can keep doing that and, take advantage of more opportunities to extend the lead out, you don't have to have these one-score games at the end where you're sweating things out or you're leaving things up to chance, like having Shamari Connor on the field instead of Noah Williams, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it was an entertaining game. You got to give some credit to Jacksonville. They made some plays. They're pretty frisky this year. They're 4-1. They're one of the 9 teams that's 4-1. And you mentioned that, last year the Chiefs were the last team that was undefeated. They were 10-0. This year, no team made it to 5-0. We saw the Eagles fall this weekend. We saw the Bills fall. Like I said, there's 9 teams that are 4-1. Now, a couple of them, like the Steelers, are 3-1. That they were on a bye. The Packers are
pumpkin watch.
Yeah, the Packers are 2-1-1 with that tie against the Cowboys, which in reality that was a loss for the Packers. Let's be real. That was a win for the Cowboys, a loss for the Packers. That's like soccer style ties. Yeah,
200%.
Yeah, exactly. So we could throw those 2 teams out, but there's 7 other teams that are legitimately 4-1. The Jaguars being one of them. If you had to pick from those 7 teams, and I'll tick them off here. So you got the Jaguars, the 49ers, the Colts, the Eagles, the Bucks, the Lions, and the Bills. Of those 7 teams, which one do you think is the best team in football? Is there a best team in football right now?
I generally, as I watch these games, I don't look at any of them and say, this is the best team. Yeah. I think you have to look at it in like 2 to 3 game increments and say, who's playing the best within this span? Yeah. Right now, you can make the argument Detroit is playing the best. I don't think Buffalo really has a case for being the best team. They have the case for having, a guy who's playing quarterback, one of the highest levels of anybody. They have a case for a very dangerous team because of what they can do. But, if you're going to knock the Chiefs for, beating the crap out of the Ravens, then that also by transitive property, like that means the Bills have not beaten anybody of substance either. And then their run defense has been very bad to start this year off. So they don't really have a case. San Francisco's injured. Green Bay, like after that loss to the Cowboys, they really don't deserve to be mentioned until they prove something, which they have every capability of doing. Philly, same thing we said about the Chiefs last year. Like, yeah, you're winning, but there's so many signs that this isn't a good team, right? Like, even though the results are there, finding ways to win, and then you can be overwhelmed by like the overall talent, but like you that's all you're doing. You're finding ways to win. Jacksonville, I don't think they did anything well last night. Like they made plays at the right time, which they get credit for. Obviously, they got stops at the right time. Great defensive play by Devin Lloyd to jump in front of Mahomes, who should have seen him.
Yeah.
But they didn't run the ball well. They didn't pass the ball well. The Chiefs almost had 500 yards of offense, and they won that game, right? Like, so, like, I have no logical reason to think Jacksonville is even good, let alone the best team. But in this parity league, all you need is a few plays.
Yeah.
So if I had a gun to my head, I'm saying Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, which is ominous because we see them on Sunday. But like you said, any team can look the best in a 2 to 3 game span.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, I think Detroit is probably the most impressive team. I mean, if you just kind of forget week 1 how they looked against the Packers, like they've been killing it ever since then. I'm going to go with the Bucks just because every week is like a 1-score last second win, but they're finding ways to win, and they're not as banged up as the 49ers are, but they're pretty banged up, and they're finding ways to win. And do I think they're going to be there at the end? I don't, but like right now in this moment, I think I can make a case that Tampa Bay is the best team in the NFL.
I'm definitely making the case that Baker Mayfield is a front runner for MVP.
Yeah.
Top 2 guy. I may have him 1 right now. I think he's playing quarterback super well. He and Dak Prescott, Jared Goff after week 1, like you mentioned. I think they're definitely the friskiest team because are they really good? They all of these have been 1-score games, and again, if you don't have like the luxury of being like back-to-back Super Bowl champions, like we're gonna look down upon that.
Yeah.
And they've been in like very close games to teams that are mediocre to not good. So I don't know how much of it is they're really good despite the injuries, or is just like is Baker Mayfield just carrying, because it looks like Baker Mayfield is carrying them to a degree. Defense has been solid, but not great. So, I mean, like you said, a lot of teams have a case, but there's also a counter case to every single team in the league right now.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, I do feel like Philadelphia and Buffalo will be there at the end, at least in the Final Four, I think.
Yeah.
But right now, I can't say either one of those teams is the best team. And
I lose less confidence in Philly despite the talent, because the things that they are not good at are things that will doom you. Despite we've seen talented teams get knocked off because they didn't have this specific thing that they didn't have in week 1. They got glossed over because you have so many other things that cover for it. But they can't pass the ball consistently, you know. Like, and to their credit, we've seen a team not be able to pass the ball consistently make the Final Four year after year after year, until finally it was like, hey, we need somebody who can pass the ball downfield.
Yeah.
They still didn't win, but like, and by them, I'm talking about the 49ers. But there's less separation between these teams, and defenses, as we have discussed on this podcast, have caught up to a large degree. So it's not hard for me to see a team be able. Hell, the Chiefs shut down both the run and the pass. Right, like that game was lost in so many areas around the margins, but they could not pass the ball on a team that struggled the week before in the secondary, and with the pass rush. So, there's not a lot of evidence to say that the passing game will be above average by the end of this year, right? I have more faith in maybe like the running game picking up, but like, man, if you're such a liability in passing the ball as they are right now, maybe last year I could see them overcoming that, but like there's not really a lot of gap. There's not much gap at all between them and Detroit. Right? Like Detroit is going to continue to score in the ways that the Rams didn't, a couple of weeks ago. So I have less confidence in that, but I mean, I'm certainly not picking against them being in the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, you're right. Offensively, even Barkley, he's not having the kind of year. I mean, last year was an amazing season, but like they're not running the ball that well. They're obviously not throwing the ball that well. I mean, hell, last week or in week 4, they didn't even complete a pass in the second half, which is pretty hard to do for an NFL team. I don't think I've ever even heard of that. Like, that's so strange, especially for a team, the defending Super Bowl champions. So this is a wild, kind of wide open year so far. A couple of the teams I want to kind of highlight here. I want to talk about the 49ers. They're 4-1. They're the most injury riddled team in the league, I think. And they've had injuries. They lost the tight end, although Kittle, I think, is coming back this week. They lost Bosa. Of course, they lose him like almost every other year. Receivers, they've lost all their receivers basically. They even lost their quarterback, Brock Purdy. And the backup came in, Mac Jones, who Kyle Shanahan has kind of wanted years ago in the 2021 draft. And Mac Jones has played pretty well. And I've had a chance to watch large portions, if not all of those games. And while the talent's diminished by injury, that offense looks better with Mac Jones right now than it did with Brock Purdy earlier this season. So my question for you, do you think not trying to create a controversy because that's whatever, but like, do you think Mac Jones is better for the 49ers right now than Brock Purdy?
This gets into an interesting conversation that, I've had with several different people, from Frank to different, other people, about pedigree versus like intangibles, because Mac Jones, even though no one would ever confuse him with like having this high ceiling for a quarterback, even in college, he does have the pedigree, right? Big game, being on a big stage, top draft pick, a sizable amount of like NFL GMs believe that he was one of the better quarterback prospects coming out.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, complete opposite, right? Played in some big games in the Big 12, but like, you weren't tuning in to see Iowa State versus Oklahoma State. This wasn't it wasn't the Fox big game of the week. Like, it just wasn't one of those things. Like, we weren't expecting to see Brock Purdy play into January when he was in college. Even though he had big games and, he was overall like a very, very good quarterback in college. But last pick of the draft, really only gets in because injury absolutely uses those intangibles to become a starting quarterback, and he just got paid, so this is a battle of like philosophies and like, hey, can you overcome bad situation, injury? Like, hey, if you get into the right situation, the pedigree will take over, or is Brock Purdy's success and then the 49ers success with him, is that all based on like the intangibles? Can the intangibles overcome where like the pedigree doesn't, right? Like that raw natural talent. And I don't know. I don't really have a great answer because, the results are so hit and miss. What I can tell you is that Kyle Shanahan is like putting on a masterclass play calling. Like, he's absolutely putting Mac Jones in positions to where he doesn't have to carry the offense. He doesn't have to throw outside of like the zones to where he's the best at. And I give Mac Jones credit for making those throws. We have to remember, he, in a lot of ways, made those throws in New England. He just couldn't make those throws consistently. And the team wasn't good enough to like cover up to allow him to like make those mistakes that he was making. But he's playing I totally agree. He's playing really well.
Yeah.
And at the very least, it shows that in Kyle Shanahan's offense, there's not a huge gap between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, regardless of which philosophy you fall under, intangibles or pedigree. Like, there's just not a huge gap. So like, even if Mac Jones is giving you 90% of Brock Purdy, it could still look like 100% of Brock Purdy. Whatever, do with that information,
whatever that is.
But like, it still looks like Brock Purdy. Like, Brock Purdy has not done a single thing that I think Mac Jones cannot do on the football field, if that makes.
Yeah, no, it does. This might not make a lot of sense, but I feel like if the Niners had their full complement of talent on offense, I think Brock Purdy's better for that, because we've seen it. We've seen him go to the Super Bowl with that. But for whatever reason, Mac Jones with this like ragtag bunch of like Kendrick Bourne, who was one of his teammates in New England, and you've got these guys that like, I mean, obviously you still got McCaffrey back there, but like you're on your second, third, fourth tight end. For whatever reason, it just works really well right now, and I don't think it would work as well with Purdy. It's a very strange situation. You're right. The talent levels, go for it.
Quick theory.
Yeah.
I think because Brock Purdy does not have the pedigree, he's always going to lean closer to center. Okay. Right? So like, if you have great talent around him, he understands I'm only going to stretch out my talent so far because I only need to, right? Whereas Mac Jones, because a little bit more pedigree, he's going to be a little bit more erratic in some of the decisions he's making, because he's in his mind, like, if you have the pedigree, like, I have the pedigree. Like I can make this throw because I've seen myself make this throw on some level. I've seen a team depend on me on some level to make that particular throw. So he's going to stray further from the center, even when he has talent around him. And that's going to lead to more mistakes because he's just simply not as good as he thinks he is. But like Purdy is going to lean a little bit more conservative because he's always had to, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of little wrinkle for a team that I wouldn't really call the 49ers a surprise, but I think given we knew like their talent level and with the last place schedule, we knew they were going to be better. They're probably going to jump back up there. But given all their injuries, I think it is kind of incredible if they're 4-1 right now, and we'll see what happens this weekend. When they play the Bucks, another 4-1 team. That should be a good one on CBS this weekend. I want to go to the chat, sticking with the 49ers. One of our commenters, Boyett in the chat says, who should the Niners trade for to replace Bosa? Tristan, do you have any ideas?
I don't know if I suck at like NFL trades because it's just like
it's so hard.
I don't do franchise mode in Madden anymore because I just don't have the capacity to like look for around the league for a third string wide receiver to trade for a second string tackle. I don't know. What I know is what they need is like they need guys on the outside to make plays. They need guys who can, who are great at yak. Whoever that is, I could not tell you, but like they definitely need somebody. Persol is out. Like I said, Ayuk is out. Like all these guys, Juwan Jennings has been in and out. Like they need guys who can make plays for their quarterbacks who, whether you is Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, you're not dealing with like the strongest arm type of guy. So you need guys who can turn a 10-yard play to 20. Right. That's what they need.
Yeah. I'll throw one out there for defense. Like, would the Raiders be willing to part with Max Crosby? Probably not. But look at the Raiders right now. They're one of the worst teams. We'll talk about the bad teams here in a little bit, but they're going nowhere fast. Now he's one of their guys, so probably not. But like you talk about the NFL trades. The NFL is so weird because you'll have a guy who is a legit, like in his prime, great player, and he'll be traded for like a 3rd round pick. And you're just like, what? Like in the NBA, a Max Crosby level or like a Myles Garrett quality player wouldn't get traded, but if he did get traded, it'd be like 5 first-round picks and like your second best player. It'd be like, but in football, it's a different ball game when it comes to trades.
James Harden is still getting you like at least a first round pick like today.
Exactly. Yeah. It's hard to say, but the Niners are, looking pretty good despite all the injuries. We'll see what happens. Another team I wanted to talk about, another 4-1 team that I think is a surprise is the Indianapolis Colts, led by Indiana Jones himself, Daniel Jones, who is running that offense. They've only punted 7 times this season in 5 games, which is a remarkable stat. They're running over everybody. Speak on the Raiders. They beat the Raiders 40-6 on Sunday. Maybe the only person, the Raiders had a tough time in Indy. Maybe the only person that had a worse time in Indy over the weekend was Mark Sanchez. I don't know if we'll get into that or not, but sticking to football, what do you think about what Daniel Jones and the Colts are doing? Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, their rookie tight end's awesome also. Seems like things are just kind of falling in place for them.
I mean, let's start with the thing that's sustainable, the most sustainable, which is the defense, which was good last year. It was a solid to good defense last year, and it's just gotten better this year. But complementary football, you just mentioned Daniel Jones first, but you also mentioned the running back who might be the best offensive player in the league right now. Very good tight end. The guys up front are protecting and run blocking at an extremely high level. Those things tend to equal like great offense. And that's what they put up 40 twice, 30 piece, 29. Like this is a really, really good offensive team because they're balanced. Daniel Jones, pedigree versus intangibles, right? Like Daniel Jones has some pedigree, right? He was a 6 overall pick. A team expected him to carry them. He's obviously, like Mac Jones, not good enough to do that. But if you have the right complementary pieces around him, he can make plays, one with his legs, He has a good enough arm, and if guys are open, he can find them. And if the protection up front is great, there's no reason why this offense cannot at least be good the rest of this year. And the defense was good last year, So Shane Steichen also putting on a clinic as far as play calling, scripting out the game, like understanding like, hey, this is the time where we're going to dominate you with the run, and they're dominating with the run. Yeah. Like I said, Jonathan Taylor, if this was a fair and equitable award system, he would be like a front runner for MVP because he's been that good. I think this is sustainable. Now, the comp that I would give them, and I'll give some credit to Nick Wright and First Things First, but like they do have a lot of Minnesota Vikings similarities from last year. While I do think the offense as a whole can be sustainable throughout the rest of this regular season at the very least, I can see Daniel Jones turning into a pumpkin because in the playoffs at least, because as you go up, as we know, you go up a level from regular season to postseason, you are relying on a lot of high level IQ habits, things like that. And I can see Daniel Jones kind of going back to some of the habits he had, throughout his entire pro career so far. What we're seeing from him right now, very, very good play. He should be also on an MVP list. I don't know how much it is sustainable because he does not have the sustained habits of being a high-level functioning quarterback. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But overall, man, like there's not a lot of holes on that team.
Yeah. I think with Daniel Jones, he's found the right place, for him to flourish. I mean, right now it's just working really well. So,
and how many times have we even thought about Anthony Richardson?
I mean, he played this past weekend. I had that game on one of my screens, and he came in
Trey Lance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The recent high draft picks.
Gardner Minshew played. He played last week. You could play when the game is out of hands, but that's the only time. Like that's literally the only time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, since Daniel Jones got the job, I mean, we haven't heard much about Anthony Richardson, and rightfully so. So, Frank's about to join us just here in a second, so we'll get him on here in a little bit. But sticking with the AFC South, the Colts are 4-1, the Jaguars are 4-1. Yeah. The perennial team that wins the division every year, the Texans, they're 2-3. Let's talk about the state of the Texans. Now that they started out 0-3, they've won their last two. Honestly, the last 5 or 6 quarters, they've been really impressive as far as offensively. The rest of the season, not so much. Yeah. What's your take on the Texans through 5 games? And also, they're heading into a bye week this week, which might be the worst timing considering how well their offense is kind of clicking.
Yeah, they have been clicking over the past couple of games. Getting the Ravens mash unit helps. They were just in a rhythm that I have not seen them since Stroud's rookie year as an offense. The defense is giving up about 12 points a game, right? I don't know how much of that is schedule related, but 12 points a game when some of the best teams and most talented defenses in the league are giving up like 21 to 24. All right, so like the defense has been great. It's been stout. Again, most of that is going to be on the Ravens, who had like nobody playing this past Sunday. But besides that, the defense has been good. The reason why they've been struggling has been obviously the offense, the O-line, which I'm not a Texas fan, right? Not a Texans fan, though I obviously reside here in Houston. And I see a lot of news through Twitter feeds, through just general sports following, transactions, especially in the summertime. I looked at the names that the Texans brought in on the offensive line, and I guffawed. I'm like, we expect to see like a really good offensive line from these guys. I don't understand it. Like, I still seriously don't understand it, especially after you trade your best left tackle, your best offensive lineman, your starting left tackle. So they've obviously struggled getting consistent, just being able to drive the ball down the field because Stroud has been running for his life or not even getting the chance to run for his life. That picked up a little bit on Sunday. I think the Ravens were still able to get to him in the first half, and then they just kind of died out. The run game has not been there. Nick Chubb he's washed, right? He's serviceable washed, like Kareem Hunt, like washed but serviceable.
Yeah.
Can they get the offensive line, at least the pass blocking or the run game, to a average level? I think the offense will pick up. I don't think there's any chance that this offense is like really good this year. Like, I think they'll tap out at about 15 at best. But they have to get either the O-line working right to get Stroud, some time to just survey the field for at least a second, or they're going to have to like make significant like improvement into that run game. It can't be both, right? As you go, like the schedule is only going to get harder. Teams are only going to be able to like tee off more because they see, hey, this thing is working with other teams. Other teams are sending 2, sending 3, and they're getting into the backfield immediately. So it has to be one of those two things, or again, they will at best they'll crater at like a 7-win team at best.
Yeah, they still got to face the Colts twice. They lost to the Jaguars as one of their 3 losses, so they're not a shoo-in for sure to win the AFC South for a 3rd straight year by any
They're not winning the AFC South.
No,
they're not. Winning.
Yeah, it might be weird where we might have the AFC South though have 3 playoff teams or potentially 3 playoff teams.
Potentially, yeah.
Because if you look at the AFC North, I think we're only getting 1 out of that division, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank's joining us. Frank, what's your take on the Texans so far this season?
Yeah, it's like, so when you watch their defense, like if you just turn the channel on and just watching their defense and like going to another game, if you watch like NFL Ticket or League Pass, I guess NFL Ticket, NFL version of it, and you just start having to watch their defense, you think to yourself, damn, that's a 15-win team. Like that team is dominant. Like if they score 16 points a game, they're gonna destroy everybody if they're averaging allowing 12 points a game. But if you just start having to watch their offense, they look so inept. Like, and I get it. Stroud has had multiple coordinators. Like, and like Quebec is gone. He's in Green Bay now, I think, or Seattle. I think it's Seattle.
Seattle, yeah.
Yeah, Quebec's second year, when Stroud had that great first year, that second year, Quebec did not do Stroud any service, goodwill. They were very bland on offense, very predictable. Not many wrinkles in the offense, and they suffered for it. And not going to year 3, he has a new OC. But it just seems like their offense is just taking a step back. That they last year, the first 5 weeks of the season, first 4 weeks of the season, Mixon was like the engine to that offense. He was everything to the offense. He opened up the play action. He ran the ball well. But I mean, again, this is a 27-year-old running back who has miles on the tires, and I just feel like Houston never really adjusted to that. From that. And yeah, they drafted Woody Marks, and Marks had a great game last week, the week before last. And then this week, he only had like 7 carries. It's like, I don't know what their identity is. And for any good offense, whether you're bad or good, you have to have an identity. And I think Houston is still struggling to figure out what they want to do offensively. I know they drafted Jalen Huggins and a couple other young pieces in the receiving core, but they can't seem to get it together passing wise, running the ball. They don't know who they want to like commit to. I know Chubb had a touchdown last week and he looked pretty good, but again, Chubb is coming off lower leg extremities for the 2nd straight year, and he's close to 30 now. So they have to make a decision like what they want to do with their offense and find an identity. And my fear is by the time they figure out what they want to do, they may be the 3rd best team or 3rd place team come December, because it looks like Indy's for real. Daniel Jones has had a great resurgence, and Jacksonville looks like they're here to stay. So,
yeah, I think that Mixon is definitely missed by the Texans. And today, Texans GM Nick Caserio said that there's no timetable for his return. He's got a foot injury, so I mean, we're in early October. what does that mean? No timetable sounds like, hey, there's only a couple, there's 3 months left in the season, so will we
But
see
here's
him
the
play at all? That's the
but here's
question.
the problem though. Why are you depending on a 30-year-old running back? When he got hurt last year, you should have drafted a guy last year. They drafted Woody Markson in the 4th round, but like they didn't. You should have used a premium pick or a free agency acquisition to remedy that. Like he got hurt last year too. Like I don't know why this is like they got caught their pants down, not preparing for this recurring issue with Mixon. He wasn't healthy in Cincinnati. He had issues there too, being healthy.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they came into the season so unprepared. In case this happened again.
Yeah, no, it's a valid thing. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll see if the Texans can kind of get their offense turned around. Moving on. So we talked about the good teams. The Texans are obviously kind of in the middle. Let's talk about the worst teams in the NFL. And while we don't have an undefeated team, we do have a winless team. The Jets are 0-5. They have yet to force a turnover. And then we have 7 other teams that only just have 1 win. Those teams are the Browns, Giants, Saints. By the way, the Saints and Titans got on the board this weekend with wins. That Titans win is just insane against the Cardinals. You got the Raiders with 1 win, the Dolphins with 1 win, and the Ravens with only 1 win. Probably the biggest surprise of those teams is the Ravens. Tristan, I want to get your thoughts on the winless, obviously the Jets, the worst teams league, and just the Ravens, like given their situation, they're usually a playoff team. They're, they should be a Super Bowl contender. This year, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
It won't be the case. Unfortunately, like they're just big. Outside of the injuries, the defense was bad half the year last year. All right, this has been a downward trend for them defensively. Offensively, they've struggled from the fact that although they put up a ton of points, although they have one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks in the history of sport, they have one of the best running backs of his generation. They struggle in big moments, right? Because lacking consistency in, how much they dedicate themselves to the run game. Lamar obviously has had his shortcomings in big moments / postseason. And like, it's just, there's been a philosophical chasm between the talent that they have and the results. This year, we've seen that trend over the course of several years now. And what we have not really seen is like the big injury whammy that every team goes through. Kansas City last year, 49ers this year, like so on and so forth. Detroit last year at the end. They're going through it now. And it's like all of their biggest problems kind of coalescing at the same time. Outside of like, Lamar, big games, even though some weird things happen in the Chiefs game. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, man, like as we see in the NBA, man, a window can close like that. Like what you thought was this extended runway because you have this generational quarterback, you have all these guys on both sides of the ball who are, highly touted. They have the top 10 PFF rankings. Injuries, bad luck, blowing games, those things can happen to any team at any point in any year. You have to be able to weather that. And they simply, I don't know what the fix is, right? Like they don't have a guy to say, okay, Lamar's out. Okay, for the time being, we'll lean on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is not washed by any, shape, form, or fashion, but he's on the way. Like he's calling the head and say, hey, open the door. I'm 2 blocks down. Like he's on his way there. So you can't really depend on him there. They don't have a receiver on the outside that's like, hey, get it to this guy, quick slant. We can depend on getting 7 to 10 yards or beyond past that. And then defensively, like they're good complementary when everyone's there, and everyone's not there. So they don't have that star there. So I also don't think John Harbaugh is, Rick Carlisleing you a few wins that you shouldn't get. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the fix is there, which means that, hey, unless Lamar comes back and then you start getting guys back immediately, things could potentially get out of hand in this AFC where anybody could beat anybody on a given Sunday.
Yeah. Look at that division. They're 1-4. The whole division's bad except for Pittsburgh, and I don't think Pittsburgh's very good. Now, my prediction's not going to happen. I predicted before the season that Pittsburgh was going to have a top 5 pick. They're not going to have a top 5 pick because they're going to win that division. But they're going to be like
every time Aaron Rodgers moves past 3 yards, something bad happens.
Exactly.
Every time.
I mean, they're going to be a 9-8 division winner. I unless they tie a couple games, maybe they'll be 9-7-1 or something. But that's not a good division. And so, I mean, given just today, the Bengals traded for Joe Flacco. So Joe Flacco is going from the Browns to the Bengals. The Bengals are the only team in that division, I think, that if they get any kind of quarterback play, that maybe they can, beat the Steelers. But
they need mobile quarterback play. Like Joe Burrow is not the mobilest of guys, but Joe Burrow is going to move around in the pocket and get the ball. He's going to extend plays at the very least. Like he's still very good at that. Joe Flacco is not extending a damn thing except that long ass neck of his. Like he's not like that's not the fix that I think. But he's better than Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that. Hey, Frank, your thoughts on the Ravens, the AFC North as a whole? What are you thinking?
The Ravens need to prepare for a top 10 pick. If they're, let's be honest, man, they could be 2-8 by the time Lamar gets back. And if they're 2-8, 2-7, you need to really revisit this whole, should we bring Lamar back? Is it worth bringing him back? Should we think about 2026? They're not a good team. They have 7 guys. They lost somebody else Sunday on defense. That's 7 starters on defense. That's out. Like, it's only going to get worse. And like Tristan said, they don't have anybody on the perimeter to like rely on. Like, yes, what's that short little scatty receiver from Boston College? He's there, but Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
And Zay Flowers is a gadget player at best, and the rest of the guys are just bit players. Mark Andrews is on the Kelsey slope of washed. So it's like, who do you have to rely on offensively? And on top of that, like your backup quarterback situation, yeah, he did fine in Dallas a few years ago, but like, and look, it's hard to judge a backup quarterback against Houston's defense, but who does he have to rely on? He's not throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb. He's not throwing the ball to anybody worth a damn on an elite scale. So it wouldn't be surprised if they're 2-8 by the time Lamar gets back. He has a hammy problem. That could be that's a month. They're saying that he's questionable, but like, no, let's be frank here. That's a month injury at best. And if he comes back any sooner than that, he's going to re-aggravate it. He's a running quarterback. So the fact that they even like entertaining trying to bring him back early is ridiculous. You might have to put the season the way it's looking.
And so with the Ravens pretty much out of it, who do you see winning the North now?
I mean, by default, it's Pittsburgh. I mean, Flacco he just got there today. Like, I can't imagine Cincinnati being able to like go 500 the rest of the way until Burrow gets back in 2 months. It has to be Pittsburgh, right? Like, who else? There's nobody else there that I can see that can, give Pittsburgh a fight. If Flacco gets a playbook or like gets 60 plays over the next 2 or 3 weeks that he can like manage and like play backyard football, maybe they scratch out a 3-3 record in the next 6 weeks. But again, that's high end. You can't really rely on that. So I would say Pittsburgh.
And then we can talk about the bad quarterback play in Cincy. Let's not forget they have the second worst defense in the NFL. You're like, let's not.
And one of the worst offensive lines to add to that too.
Yeah, like there's a reason Joe Burrow was hurt. Like, you got a statue back there now. So I don't think that's the fix that they needed to make. I think they could have gotten a journeyman. I would have traded for Tyrod Taylor. And like, I need somebody who can run. I need somebody who can get out of the pocket. Like a statue behind that line with that defense, meaning you're going to be behind a lot of games, which means defenses are going to pin their ears back. It could get worse than Jake Browning. It could get worse.
I saw a next gen stat today. Chase Brown. So all all the running backs that qualify in touches, I think like 80 touches over the last 5 weeks. He ranks last in qualified running backs in yards per touch. Like that's from the offensive line, and I don't. They have issues, man. Like even when Burrow's there, they have issues. So like now you're asking Flacco to like try to mend this or like keep it together with Scotch tape, hopes and prayers. I don't see it happening, man.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's for I mean, for a whole division to be that unwatchable, and it's a division we get to see on TV a lot because of traditional powers like Pittsburgh and Baltimore. It's kind of a bummer when there's not a good team among three and or among the four. I mean, maybe Pittsburgh is better than I think they are, but I think I'm going to be right whenever we see the actual games on the field. Just kind of wrapping up the bad teams right now. Who do we think is going to finish with the worst record? Saints, Titans, Giants, Browns, maybe the Raiders, Dolphins. Could the Ravens have the worst record? I mean, if you had to bet right now, who do you think is going to be the worst team? Who's drafted number one overall next April or May?
Ooh. I'm gonna say the Jets. Which is crazy. I don't think Justin Fields has been a problem.
No.
I don't think he's been a problem. I think he's played well despite. Tennessee, Cam Ward is good enough to get you 3 wins. Even with like absolutely nothing around him and a coach that's less than that.
Yeah.
I think he's good enough to get you 3 wins. I think the Jets might win 1 or 2 games at the most. Everything's bad. Coaching's bad. Defense is supposed to be good. It's not good. There's no offensive line. They just lost a running back that they depend on. I don't know a single one of their receivers outside of Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna say them. I'm just looking. I think Cleveland, the defense alone could get them a few games.
Yeah.
Geno Smith is not as bad as he's playing. He's playing horrible. He's not that bad. Yeah, I'm going to Jets.
I mean, I think that like Tennessee, while Tennessee does have a win and the Jets don't, does Tennessee actually have a win? Because that win Sunday against the Cardinals, I mean, the Cardinals gave them the game multiple ways. So that was a tough one. I'm going to stick with Tennessee. I think they're going to finish the worst record, although I could be convinced about the Saints. But I do want to congratulate Spencer Rattler, his first career win. That team actually plays pretty hard, so I'll give him credit for that.
That's why I didn't choose the Saints. I didn't really think about the Saints. I think Spencer Rattler even last year he had flashes of could be possibly a starting quarterback pretty soon.
Yeah.
This year I think he's right below the line of starting quarterback. I think he's played solid despite the fact that there's very little talent there. He played very well at this past weekend. I could see him racking up 3 more games of that and them winning 4 games.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Frank, who you got? Who's going to be the worst team at the end of the season?
Raiders.
The
Raiders.
There you go.
Yeah, Raiders. I don't have faith in Geno Smith. I think he'll probably get benched. When they go 0-7, he'll get benched, or 0-6, he'll get benched for some no-name starter, and they're gonna be worse.
Yeah.
Because I think what makes them so bad is that whatever trade value Geno Smith had is gone. Like nobody's gonna trade for him in his contract. So when the Raiders essentially bench him, they're gonna play some scout team third string quarterback, and then Jacoby Myers may get traded as well by the trade deadline. They won't have any pieces outside of the great Boise State back. Like they don't have any pieces out there. Bowers has a knee injury. They're saying they're gonna sit him for a while. They don't have any pieces. Like they're set up for a generational 1-11 run moving forward. Like they're set up.
Yeah, for me, the only question is next year, opening day, who's their starter? Is it Tom Brady or is it Mark Sanchez? Who's going to start for the
If Mark's not in prison.
Or rehab. Something.
Yeah. It could be Drew Allard. It could be Clay Klubnik. They're going to get a quarterback next year. Like that team needs a quarterback.
First of all, the names you just mentioned are not real. Like
they're not, but
what in
they're Raiders.
12th year of Madden franchise ass names those, man. Like Drew Allard, I know, but like, my God, if he's a first round pick, I'm a first round pick.
Oh yeah, no, he's only gonna go in the first because when people look at him, they're gonna think what he could be. Yeah, they're gonna think we have our Josh Allen. That's what they're gonna look at when they see him. Now, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of him at all. Like the number one red flag for him is this is his 4th year starting at a Power 5 school, and he's not gotten any better. He started every year since his freshman year, and he's not gotten better. He still makes remedial decisions with the football. He still put the ball in harm's way. He doesn't galvanize the team. Like he's not. I don't. But he's 6'5", huh?
He's beaten absolutely nobody.
No, he hasn't. He has not. He's 6'5", 250, and some scout going to say, well, with the right coaching and the right OC, and if the moon shines this way and the lunar eclipse goes this way, he could be Josh Allen. That's what's going to happen and come next February.
Speaking of Josh Allen, what y'all think about Josh Allen facing maybe a younger version of himself on Sunday Night Football with the Drake May and the Patriots going to Buffalo, getting the 23-20 win with Stephon Diggs going crazy against one of his former teams? Tristan, what do you think about that game?
Man, I think every young quarterback there's like a specific game where it's like, this could be the thing that propels you to greatness. Like this, or at least this is the time where you introduce yourself like officially to the world. Like we talk, national television games for football are so important because they're standalone games, right? The entire nation is watching. We're focusing. Everybody's talking about that. That's the time where if you're a coach who's a little bit on the hot seat, you might want to win that game and like look good while doing it, because otherwise you might not survive that national television game. If you're a quarterback who is on the verge of getting benched, you might want to, have a 350-yard game or something like that. Otherwise, you might not survive that national television game. If you are a top pick for a franchise that's been a little bit woebegone over the last few years since, a few legends left, and you're drafted, as a savior in a lot of senses, having that particular game, not even just like even the result, the win, cool, the passing yards, cool, but like the type of plays that he made, the type of throws that he made consistently throughout that game, coming through in big moments, looking like a veteran quarterback, not a veteran quarterback who's used to playing great in those particular moments. That's the perfect time to do it. Again, going against one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the best quarterbacks of the, this generation, obviously.
Yeah.
In a division rival who's dominated, the Patriots for the most part. That's about as good a game as you can have in that situation, right? You think back 2018, Mahomes Broncos, Monday Night Football, coming back, leading the drive down. Like there's so many versions of it that we've seen. Every great quarterback needs that. Jaden Daniels had a few of those last year. And I think that was Drake May's like introduction as not just a starting quarterback, not just somebody, we can depend on, but like an actual superstar, potential superstar. And I feel, I don't really care about Patriots fans, but like there is something magical about seeing a fan base get that enlightening on Sunday Night Football like they did. Like, oh, we have a superstar. And that's a great feeling, waking up every Sunday morning like, damn, I have a superstar. Like something good should happen today because I have a superstar quarterback. And that's what he showed.
Frank, what'd you think about Drake May, the win over the Bills Sunday night?
I was in our group chat, Tristan and myself and a couple other fellas, and I used the term that man's making some big dick throws in this game today, man. Like that man's letting his gonads hang and saying, "Say, fam, this is what I do. This is what I does." There was a throw he made going to his right with a guy draped on him, not the one, not the 5 yard throw, but it was the one to Diggs, 20 yards down the field, lean to his right, and the ball just like he threw it to a spot, and Diggs just got there like in stride. I was like, bro, this man has superstar potential. Like this is, and like the moment wasn't big for him. And I love a lot of times with coaches when you have like a prospect who has a chance to be great. A lot of times you tend to overcoach and like take the game out of the kid's hands, or a lot of times out of a better quarterback hands because you're afraid to lose the game. And that last drive, man, like they let him go get it. Like they put the ball in the air. They ran some RPOs. But they trusted him to make those decisions with the football, and he handled like a pro. He looked like a 5 year veteran on those last couple of drives. And I mean, and this is a receiving core of like Damari Douglas, an aging Stephon Diggs, an aging Hunter Henry. Like he's raising the level of play around him with B plus to C plus pieces, and that's when you have something special at quarterback.
Yeah, we talked about it before the season. I predicted they were going to make the playoffs. I just thought that they were going to be, the 7th seed or whatever. But this is actually working out pretty well when you look at, like we just talked about the North, how the North is down. There's only going to be one team. Some teams have got to fill the void. And the Patriots look like they could be definitely one of those teams that could be playing in January. So we'll be interested to see how it all plays out. But if you look at their schedule going forward, they've got some very winnable games the next 4 to 5 weeks. So they could push Buffalo for the lead. Yeah.
If they're a serious team, they win the next 3 games. Yeah. Point blank, period. Like you win the next 3 games. Yeah. Not 2-1, right. Not 1-2, but like we were close in the other. No, you win those next 3 games, and that'll tell us what the Patriots are this year.
And they have a superstar at cornerback. Christian Gonzalez missed all of last year, and people forget how good he was in college, and he showed on the big stage of how good he is. Like he had some shutdown routes. Like there was a play where I think it was Coleman. He came across the corner. He came across the field. It was a zone, and he broke off the zone and cut off the route. And broke up the play in zone coverage. I mean, typically in zone, you're playing an area, but he recognized the route and he recognized the route concepts to where he jumped the route, and it was just a veteran move by such a young corner. So I'm very proud of him, and like they got a star at cornerback.
Yeah, the future looks pretty bright there for the Patriots after a couple of down years. Before we get to the college game, anything else from the NFL that y'all want to touch on before we move on? Tristan, you got something?
I feel like I had something earlier today, but it's been a day, man. No, I got nothing.
You don't talk about the Carolina quarterback, the big win on Sunday?
Great win. They shouldn't have won that game, but great win. I'll say that. You know what? Fuck that. Let me clear off my weekly Bryce corner. Like we should just have a Bryce corner segment. I was this close to giving up on Bryce Young, like in the first half. Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, like there's this group of quarterbacks to where like I just can't place how good they are. Are they good? How good can they be? Are they just bad? Like it can change from week to week. And like with every week, I'm starting to draw a deeper conclusion about each one. My thing with Bryce is what I learned watching this weekend kind of confirmed a little bit more for me is that I think Bryce has the tools to be a star quarterback in the NFL. I think he has limitations that restrict how how likely that is. You know, like
Yeah.
he can make almost every throw on the field, but he's so small that he has to have the right angle in order to make those throws, right? He has to have the right receivers in order to like catch some of the throws that might not be perfect, but like they're almost there, like those 50-50 balls. Like there's so many variants for his greatness that it obviously lowers the ceiling on how great he can be and how likely that is. But just on raw talent, he can make every throw. He has intangibles of a leader. You can tell like that his teammates love him. You can tell like his coach believes in him to a large degree. It's just like, man, like, can the Panthers put the right team around him to accentuate what he does well and cover up for like the flaws that he has? But I definitely think he can be a star quarterback. How likely that is, I get a little less confident sometimes every week.
Yeah, that's fair. Frank, anything else from the NFL you want to talk about?
Frank's still on mute. While Frank's coming off mute.
Yeah, I mean, I sorry. No, I agree with Tristan. With the Panthers, man, I don't know if it's the organization, if it's an organizational issue, or we know Bryce has limitations. That's for sure. And I know he has a cannon for an arm. He's very talented. I don't know what his stature or lack thereof scares me. And when you watch him try to survey the field, it's like he has to be on his tippy toes. Like he struggles like surveying the field from the pocket. And I don't know if you can make a living long term.
Uh-oh.
No, we lost him.
Went bye.
Lost Frank.
That allows me to read this tweet.
Okay.
Harrison Butker died with Charlie Kirk. That is not the same player.
I mean, honestly, last night's game, if you don't kick the ball out of bounds, does Jacksonville score that touchdown?
Jacksonville has to go about 75 to 80 yards.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have enough. They barely had enough time to do it from the 40. So,
yeah. And, you know, he's also missed he's missed 5 kicks already this year, I think. Or
he's essentially missed a kick or extra point in almost every game.
Yeah. It's rough going for Harrison Butker. Yeah. I know one of the games he missed one. It was right, and they said it was wide right, which was which apropos. Yeah.
How fitting.
Yeah. Hopefully Frank will join us back, but let's move on to the college game.
Yeah.
Let's talk. We're going to stay here in the state of Texas because there's plenty, obviously, lots of stuff we could discuss over the last 5 weeks of college football. But let's stay in Texas because there's a lot we could just talk about in our state. Let's start off with the Texas Longhorns, the preseason number 1. Now they're unranked. They've played 2 real games. They've lost both those real games, losing to Ohio State and losing last weekend to Florida at Florida. Tristan, what do you think about the Longhorns and Arch Manning? They're 3-2. They're heading into Red River to take on Oklahoma. What do you see with Texas?
I see a team that I don't know where to start. I think, okay, let's start with Arch. Yeah. No, let's start with the coach. Okay. I don't think Sarkisian has been on top of his game this season. Even in the games they've won, there's been a lot of questionable offensive decisions that have been made. I think that they could lean more on the run, especially having a young quarterback making his first few starts.
Yeah.
I think Arch has been overall solid, right? We can look at, what he's done in the 2 games against Florida, Ohio State. I thought he got better as the game went on. Well, he got somewhat better as the game went on against Ohio State. Like he looked a little bit more comfortable in the second half of that game than he did the first half. And I thought he was absolutely not the problem against Florida. I don't think he was the solution though. And that's the next step for him is, okay, hey, you're not the reason that you guys are losing, but like, what are you doing to elevate your game and the guys around you? And he's just simply not at that point yet. I also don't have much evidence as why did we believe that he should have been.
Yeah.
Right. Like he did not start many games. He started a few games in Quinn Ewer's absence, and he was mostly good against low stakes competition. But like, there's no reason for us to need Arch Manning to be great this year. We know he's not coming out, for the draft this year. We know that, right? So like, give him time to like get better. Like I can see things. His throwing motion is getting better. His left sidearm more a little bit over. Footwork is getting better. Like he's getting better in a lot of ways that may not look dominant because what of the expectations, but he's getting better. And defensively, there's no reason Florida should have scored 29 points against them, right? 24, 21, maybe 29. That's on defense. So like right now, like they're just not dominant in any area. And especially not in the areas where they need to be to like cover up, like quarterback and defense. Running game can get better. I think Sark's offensive play calling can get a lot better than what it's been, especially on like third and short, fourth down. Like they lost the game essentially on some of those fourth down calls. They need to get better in all phases.
Yeah, and Arch Manning, while he wasn't great in that game by any stretch, he was under fire a lot. And Texas, they had 4 new offensive linemen starters this year from last year's team. And I think we thought like if you put Arch Manning on last year's team and let him start the season, maybe we would be getting this like phenomenal performance. But this year they're just not as good. I mean, across the board, Texas is not as good of a team as they were last year. Now, maybe at the end of the year, maybe they will be, or going into next year, because I know they always have a ton of talent every year. But that's a big part of why we've seen Texas struggle. And to me, the struggle is going to continue. They got Oklahoma, who even though Oklahoma doesn't have John Mateer this weekend, they're still going to be tough. Their defense is great. Texas still has to go to Georgia. They finish the year against A&M, who's undefeated, who looks very good. Hell, they have a game against Vanderbilt where I mean, almost assuredly Vanderbilt will be higher ranked than Texas. So there's a lot of losses probably left on the schedule for Texas.
Good. Go through some shit. Maybe they're much better next year because of this year. Yeah. But I just don't see any reason why the expectation was that they were, going to win a national championship with a novice quarterback. We talked about how defenses are much better. Like there's much more parity in these leagues in the SEC overall. Vanderbilt's good. Good Lord. Like there's no cakewalks there. So like good. Put him in some situations where he's going to be uncomfortable and he has to make those adjustments and he has to raise his play and his fundamentals and all these things at the same time. His reading the field, like leadership, all these things, like baptism through fire, because I don't know how much great competition he's played against in his life. Honestly, I think he needs this.
Yeah, that's a good take. Frank, what are your thoughts on the Longhorns?
Yeah, I'm just tired of people thinking that he's going to be Peyton Manning 2004 and like win the Heisman without playing in any big time games. The kid had 2 starts last year, UTSA and fucking New Mexico State. Like, come on, bro. Like, he's not going to be like gangbuster. His first start of the year was against Ohio State and Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to take time. It's growing pains. And like, I don't know where we've gone as a society to where we don't take account of QB/player development anymore. You have to play to get better. That's not like a Captain Obvious moment, but you have to play. You need snaps to get better. And you're not gonna go out there and throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns, having never played this competition before. Like, this is big boy competition. This is why he didn't want to transfer. That's why he sat for those 2 years that he was there. Because you have to sit and learn and hold a clipboard. And then the second part of learning is actually being baptized by fire. Like I saw some good things against Florida last week. I saw some bad things, but the bad things I saw was, okay, he ain't playing enough yet. Okay, he he got stuck on his one read and didn't go back to his other read. Okay, he locked on a receiver too long and didn't look up the safety. Okay, these are things that are teachable, but they're teachable through playing and you have to make mistakes. And like I look at these memes and I look, some of it's funny, but like a lot of it's like, bro, like what did you expect? You know, like you lost 3 starters on the offensive line last year. You know, you lost a lot of pieces. Like they have 3 transfers at receiver. Like it like all these are just makeshift pieces that have to get settled in and get snaps. You know, so like Tristan said, they lose some more good. They'll be better for it. They'll be better for it. It's okay. It's not in the world. You know, and Sark has to play. Sark has a stake in this too. Like he hasn't put him in the best situations either. Like watching the Ohio State game the beginning of the year and watching the UTSA game this year, like he's still treating him like he's Peyton Manning. Like he needs to run more. You need more RPOs. You need more move in the pocket, like flowing of the routes and moving more. Like he's not a drop back quarterback, at least not now. And I think Sark needs to, and this could be a learning thing for Sark too. Like the more he watches him play, the more he realizes, okay, I got to install this in installs come Monday morning going to this game, or I got to install this. You know, so it's not just a coaching thing. I mean, it's not just a quarterback development thing, but it's a coaching play caller development as well for Sark.
Yeah, I think it's just the Manning name, and then you get hype, and then now we're seeing the reality of that, where it's like it just doesn't. The reality is not there yet. We're people preseason number 1 that they're not even ranked in week 6. That's a pretty stunning turn of events for the University of Texas. But sticking in the state, there's a team in Lubbock that looks very good, and Texas Tech. What's odd about them is it's not so much the offense; their defense is outstanding.
Yeah.
I think Texas Tech is going to win the Big 12. I think they're a shoe-in to be in the playoff. They obviously spent a lot of money in the portal. They've really changed their team. But Tristan, what do you think about Texas Tech so far and how they're just completely different than what Texas Tech has been in the past?
I legitimately enjoy watching Texas Tech play. And that over the course of my life, even when they were putting up like 500, 600 yards a game, I didn't enjoy watching them. I only enjoy watching them in Mahomes' last year. That's in my entire life. Like I don't like offense with no defense. It looks like where it looks like there's no resistance. It looks
what?
like
you wasn't feeling Graham Harrell, Michael Crabtree?
Come on, man.
Bro, what? That was a fun offense to watch.
Let's not besmirch the name of the legend Graham Harrell. It's not fun to me, right? Like it's just not. It looks like gimmick football.
Yeah.
And obviously, they still have a really good offense. Morton was slinging it. I made sure, like I scheduled my Friday night around or Saturday night around Texas Tech U of H, and they completely shut down U of H. And U of H has been playing really well. I don't know how good U of H can be in that Big 12, but like they won't be one of the bottom feeders, obviously,
right.
at 4-1. But they shut them down and got whatever they wanted to on offense as well. Like they're a real player. I totally agree with that.
Frank, your thoughts on Tech?
Hey man, this is I think Tech is the symbolism of new age college football. Like anybody can go, any Power 5 school can go from pauper to prince in one offseason. There was 67 transfer portals. Yeah. They were number 1 in the transfer portal rankings, which I didn't even know was a thing until this past year.
It's a thing. It's a big thing now in college football.
Yeah, like the number 1. Like a lot of like pronosticators haven't won the Big 12 because of all the talent they got. They got so much talent. Leftover 5 stars from different programs all coming there, and like, hey man, all it takes is one big oil tycoon to change the fortune of a college, and now Lubbock looks like they're here to stay. If you got money, they will come. So, but yeah, their defense is legit. Like their defense is. They have an NFL like defense. There's so much speed. Like there's like 6 NFL starters on that defense already. They'll be drafted over the next couple of years. They're loaded. And yeah, I think between them, possibly Arizona State and BYU, those are the favorites right now to win the Big 12.
Yeah. Sticking with Texas, let's talk about A&M. Tristan, have you seen much of A&M? What do you think about the Aggies' prospects of maybe being a dark horse SEC champion?
Man, I don't know how they're going to eventually get to 8-4 or 8-5, but like I watched a lot of the Aggies. It's really same thing as Texas Tech. Like, except the offense isn't as good as Tech.
Yeah,
but it is efficient. Like, they run the ball obviously from the quarterback and the running back position, and the defense is really good. My question for them is, can they put it together enough explosive offense when going against another really good defense? Go against a Georgia. Can you put up enough points? Because Georgia is going to shut you down at like various points of the game, and put up points at the same time, or at least they have that capability. But A&M looks better than I thought. I think I've always thought Marcel Reed was talented, but like this is the first time I'm seeing him like put it together in consistent games, and they look like a real deal. I refuse, like they're the Penn State of the SEC. Like, I refuse to like fully believe, but
yeah.
I've seen enough to say like, hey, they can upset. Like, they're number 6 in the country, so I don't know about upset, but like they could beat a team that's ranked slightly higher than them. I don't know how many of those teams they can, but like they can get Ohio State on a bad day. You know, like they can get who else is ranked above them? Like they can compete with Georgia. I don't know if they can beat Georgia, but they can definitely compete with them. So, like, this is A&M, so they could lose their next 5 games, so like nobody would be surprised. But right now, man, good defense and a good enough offense right now, like that could take you far.
Yeah, that's an excellent like comparison with Penn State and A&M. Very, very similar. A&M's got a tough stretch coming up. They've got LSU. They've got South Carolina. They got it. I mean, they're in the SEC, so almost every week now is going to be a tough game. So we'll see how if they can pan out. But I think if you're a Texas fan, you're probably dreading that game late November when the Aggies roll into town. Maybe not, but we'll see. Right now, I wouldn't be super psyched if I was in Austin waiting for that game to happen. Frank, you spent some time in College Station. What do you think about A&M? How they look so far?
I'm just surprised about the jump of Marcel Reed. I watched him last year and I thought he was okay. I didn't think he had a potential to make a big jump, but the Notre Dame game that I watched, he made some big time plays in that game. I mean, he extended plays. He was able to move the pocket. I mean, he looks like he's developed. He's developing, and I don't know what he can be. But I guess to what you said, I have to see how they do against LSU and South Carolina if Southern is playing, and if they play Georgia. That's really the big test, the barometer if they really belong amongst the top 12. Because I don't know. I don't know how good they can be. The Notre Dame game that counts for something because Notre Dame is good. They have Notre Dame's a lot of talent, and they beat them. They beat them fair and square. So I just didn't see more of those quality wins. LSU has a lot of NFL players on that team, and if you want to be considered a serious contender for the playoff, you have to beat teams like LSU and South Carolina, or at least compete at a high level. So we'll see if Elko can make that jump and make A&M a serious playoff threat. I won't say championship threat because I got to see if they can beat these teams first before I can say championship threat. But for sure, if they keep on going the way they're going, they can definitely be 11, 12, 13 by November.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You Texas 3-2, then you have their rivals Tech and A&M are both 5-0 and looking like they're going in opposite directions. So again, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. The final team I want to mention, also from the state of Texas, is my alma mater, North Texas. Before you laugh, they're 5-0. They're in the American, right? They're 5-0 for the first time since like 1960 or something. They face South Florida, who is ranked on Friday. Huge game. This North Texas team is pretty good. Like they got some talent. Their head coach is Eric Morris, who his like calling card is the fact that he recruited Patrick Mahomes to Texas Tech and Coach Mahomes at Tech. He also recruited Cam Ward to Incarnate Word before Cam Ward then went on to Washington State, ended up at Miami. So you've got a coach who is used to having some big time talent, and it's actually showing on the field. I don't know if y'all have watched much of North Texas or any at all, but this, like, I'm telling you, this team they're fun to watch. Like,
there's WNBA basketball finals going on. There is NFL. There's the NBA preseason. There's a fucking Ryder Cup. Like, I'm not seeing North Texas. No disrespect.
I'm telling you, Friday night on ESPN. I think it's ESPN2 actually. Maybe it's in the Ocho. I'm not sure, but like they're playing on one of the ABC family of networks, right?
ESPN Deportes, right?
Disney Plus, Jimmy Kimmel Plus, whatever it's called now. They're gonna be on TV. The South Florida game is, I mean, jokes aside, that's a big game. They can win the American, so we'll see. Frank, any thoughts on the Mean Green?
I'll check it out, man.
My thoughts on the Mean Green is what everything you just said. I had no idea they were in 5-0. Congrats to the Mean Green of Denton, Texas, and I wish them great fortune in the war to come against South Florida.
If you tell me North Texas is 5-0, I'm like, okay, who's the bag man? Like, whose mother is getting a new church? Like, somewhere in the greater Denton area. Like, I need to know that, man.
They're a 2.5 point favorite, just saying, on Friday. So
I'm gonna check it out. I will check it out.
We'll see what happens.
I will check it out.
Yeah. It's always, hey, when I went to school there, North Texas was pretty good. We remember Patrick. I don't know if y'all remember Patrick Cobbs or Jamario Williams. Back-to-back years, they had the rushing champion in college football.
I remember Cobbs. I remember
Jamario.
Cobbs was one of those Wildcat players for the Dolphins that year that they went all Wildcat with Ricky Williams and everybody. So, North Texas, they've had some players over the year. It's been a while. It's been 20 years or so, but they're back. They're back, so we'll see. Anything else from college football you want to mention, Tristan, before we get out of here?
Miami should be the number one team in the nation. I think Ohio State is better, but I think Miami has a better resume.
Yeah.
They should be the number one team in the nation. I still am never, ever, ever buying Carson Beck as a day one pick or day two pick for that nature. But he's played well for them, and I think they should be the number one team in the nation. I've been the most impressed by them than pretty much any team in the country so far. Also, Bryce Underwood, never missing another game. I am as heavily invested in his development as a quarterback as I have been in any college quarterback in years. So, box office.
Also, the Duke quarterback's very good too. If you get a chance to watch Duke, I know Duke's not, unless it's like March Madness, people aren't watching Duke, but check out Duke. Pretty good quarterback there with the Blue Devils. Frank, any final thoughts on college football or anything you want to mention that we didn't talk about?
Fernando Mendoza, quarterback for Indiana, might be in the Heisman play by December. Indiana will be in the playoff, I think, and he is an NFL starter. I mean, I know going into the season, we talked about Allard and Klubnik and Arch. Mendoza might be the guy that goes top 5 next year.
They got Illinois. Ohio State and Illinois.
Yeah, they bashed Illinois by 30 a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Oh, they have Oregon this week. Oh my.
Yeah, that's gonna be a game to watch. Mendoza against Moore. That might be the game of the week. Like, as far as like if you want great quarterback play, tune in for that game.
Yeah. Besides North Texas, South Florida, that's the actual game of the week.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
Watch South Florida win 42-7, and then I'll never mention it ever again. We'll move on.
I hope for your sake they win, just so we can get more Mean Green talk on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure you've driven through Denton a few times, right? It's right up
there.
there.
No, we are black. Why the fuck would we do that? Denton.
It's the Metroplex. Come on.
Shit. Hell no. Denton's might be a sundown town at this point, man.
Wow.
Sheesh.
I was not aware of this.
Denton. Yeah, no. I haven't been to Denton since I did a cross country track meet there as a senior in high school. And
Okay.
yeah, that no need. There's a lot of trees, man.
I once spoke to a girl in Denton back in college. It was a weekend. It was a while. That's the only time I've ever been in Denton.
Shout out to Denton, though.
Shout out to Denton, man.
Shout out.
Nice lady too. Yeah.
Big Game Friday. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we get out of here?
That's it.
Frank, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. So that about does it for this episode. We'll be back next month. We'll do our next monthly check-in in November. First Tuesday in November, we'll be back to discuss what's happening in the world of college football and, of course, the NFL. So I want to say thanks to everybody who watched us live. Shout out to new commenter, Boyette, to Derpy Entertainment, and, of course, to Yesenia Martinez. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. That's the best way to join us is in the live chat. But if you catch us later, that's also fine. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. That helps us out a lot. We're also on audio platforms. Check us out on Apple and Spotify. Like us there. Give us a 5-star review. That helps us out. And of course, we're on social media. You can find us everywhere at Watchers Basement. So be sure to give us a follow. So that about does it for the episode. So for Frank, for Frank and for Tristan, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.